Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening to discuss the Sudley Road, Centreville Road Roundabout project. The project team will now introduce ourselves. My name is Naika Robeson-Ramos. I am the City of Manassas Project Manager.
Hi, I'm Matt Kaiser. I'm the design manager for RK&K, working for the city. And Carlos.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Carlos Perez. I'm with the Community Development Department, and I'm here in case anyone needs Spanish translation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt and Carlos. We are here for the Sudley Road, Centreville Road Roundabout project. This project is currently at 60% design, and we would like to tell you about this project, answer your project-related questions, and receive your public input. We ask that you please put your comments in the question and answer box, and we will respond to your questions at the end of this presentation. In the event that we are unable to respond to your questions this evening, all responses will be posted on the City Project website within the next 2 weeks. Here's the meeting agenda. Excuse me, just refresh this page. We will discuss the project background, Mathis Avenue Improvement Project and Roundabout Project, project goals, roundabout design, environmental investigations and documents, sidewalk and bike connectivity, roundabout design goals, proposed impacts to parking and right-of-way, proposed construction phasing, roundabout operations, project funding and schedule, and public feedback. First, what is a roundabout? A roundabout is a circular, unsignalized intersection where traffic moves counterclockwise around the central island. This means fewer stops and delays, safer speeds, and safer pedestrian access. This roundabout was first proposed in the original Mathis Corridor Sector Plan adopted by City Council in 2006, which will reconstruct Mathis Avenue from Sudley Road to Liberia Avenue to a 2-lane facility with dedicated left turn lanes. After many intersections, accidents, and extensive traffic congestion, the city completed an extensive traffic study and feasibility analysis, which determined that a 2-lane roundabout would be the best improvement for the Sudley Road and Centreville Road Prescott Avenue intersection because roundabouts operate with reduced travel delays and congestion, which will improve air quality and reduce noise pollution and fuel consumption. Roundabouts reduce the number of crashes and enables pedestrians to cross one direction of traffic at a time. Roundabouts are not dependent on electric stoplights, especially during a power outage, which makes roundabouts very resilient and efficient. And the proposed roundabout will also benefit the Mathis Avenue Improvement Project by increasing traffic capacity at the Sudley Road Centreville Road intersection. The proposed roundabout is located at the Sudley Road Centreville Road intersection and will have 2 lanes in each direction, 6-foot wide sidewalks, pedestrian curb ramps, crosswalks with flashing beacons, and refuge islands at all 4 corners, and improved street lighting. Studies show that the proposed roundabout would get every vehicle through the intersection 30 seconds faster than the existing signalized intersection during peak hour travel times. This roundabout would be the first multi-lane roundabout in the city of Manassas and will be a hallmark gateway between the Mathis Avenue corridor and historic downtown. Project goals. Project goals are to reduce traffic congestion and delay, promote lower speeds and traffic calming, improve operational performance and efficiency, increase pedestrian safety with reduced vehicular speeds, refuge islands, and push-button rectangular rapid flashing beacons at crosswalks, green benefits will reduce vehicle noise and emissions, improve street lighting for better visibility, and create a downtown gateway and resiliency, and also comply with the City of Manassas Transportation Plan and CIP goals per the City Comprehensive Plan. Please know that if we stay with the existing signalized intersection, the mentioned benefits will never happen. The proposed roundabout will move traffic through the intersection faster and safer and is a far more superior improvement to Route 28. I will now hand the presentation over to Matt Kaiser, who will cover the roundabout design features.
Thank you, Nika. First, I'll go over the environmental investigation and documentation. No hazardous materials were found at the site. There were also no impacts to wetlands or parks. And there are also no impacts to threatened or endangered species, and no historic properties will be affected by the project. We've put together the draft environmental documentation, and once this receives federal funding, we will then need to produce a NEPA document, and it will be at the lowest level of NEPA documents, which is a programmatic categorical exclusion. This is the existing typical sections. We have Centreville Road and Sudley Road with 4-lane undivided roadway and central turn lanes. And then we have the existing Prescott with 2 lanes going eastbound, and then the left turn lane at the intersection, and a 1 lane going right and through at westbound. Again, here's the existing intersection. And one of the deficiencies here is the lack of crosswalks, and also the length of the crosswalks where people have to cross 4 lanes of traffic on Sudley Road and cross 5 lanes of traffic on Centreville Road. This is the proposed typical section looking sliced through the roundabout. And this includes street lighting, 6-foot curb abutted sidewalks, 14-foot travel lanes inside the roundabout, separated by 2-foot pavement marking buffers. Will include a 15-foot truck apron for large trucks to use to navigate through the roundabout. And then it'll have a landscaped central island. And then these are the proposed typical sections on the approaches to the roundabout, which again will have the street lighting and the 6-foot curb abutted sidewalks, and have 12 to 14-foot lanes separated by 2-foot buffer pavement marking buffers, and then variable splitter islands. Here's the proposed roundabout in plan view. And you can see one of the big features is all legs will have crosswalks and median refuges in the splitter islands. This will allow pedestrians to cross just facing traffic in one direction at a time. And also all crosswalks will have rapid reflective flashing beacons that can be activated by the pedestrians to alert drivers the pedestrians are crossing. The roundabout also has 2 approach lanes in all directions and 2 exiting lanes in all directions, except at Prescott Avenue, which just has 1 lane. You can also see the central island, which shows the brown is the truck apron, and then the green is the grass and the landscaped central part. This shows relation again of the Sudley Road, Centreville Road roundabout project to the Mathis Avenue improvement project, with the intersections separated by about 450 feet. And this shows also in the tan some of the new sidewalk improvements, not just at the roundabout project, but also along Mathis Avenue. This is the city truck route, and Sudley Road and Centreville Road are both part of that truck route, the western bypass to downtown. The expected truck traffic, or the current truck traffic, is between 2 and 3.5%, and the future truck traffic is expected to remain the same. This map shows some of the sidewalk connectivity and in relation to the schools and the parks and downtown, and some of the safety improvements that the city is planning for in the future. This also has, we also have improvements, of course, on Mathis Avenue, which isn't highlighted on this map, but is also a project happening. This map shows the bike connectivity. Centreville Road and Sudley Road are actually not official bike routes. Bicyclists can use the roadways, but the official route to downtown Manassas is on Portner Avenue. I'll go over some of the roundabout design goals. This roundabout should improve the operational performance and increase pedestrian safety. We did a traffic study, and the level of service at the intersection should improve from the existing signal. Currently, the level of service is a D for the signal, and it should go to a B for the proposed roundabout. The level of service is similar to grades you get in school, A being the best and F being the worst. And currently, the existing signals at a D level. The geometry, the splitter islands, and the central island will promote lower speeds and traffic calming. And these percentages shown here are from Federal Highway for typical reductions in accidents. So we have 35% reduction, typical reduction in all crashes, a 76% reduction in injuries, a 90% reduction in fatalities, 46% in pedestrian crashes, 10% in bicycle crashes. And again, with the pedestrian safety, we're adding wider sidewalks. We have the pedestrian curb ramps, the marked crosswalks in all 4 legs, the raised refuge islands for pedestrians, and then we'll have the flashing beacons in all quadrants. So and people will only need to cross one leg at a time, or one direction at a time. We also have reductions in delays, congestion, noise, and emissions. The reduction delays should be approximately 16,000 hours per year in the AM and PM peak hours. And as Naika had mentioned, cars should experience a 30% or 30-second reduction in delay during peak hours. We also have reduced delays and congestion and noise from idling, accelerating, and decelerating vehicles as opposed to the existing signal. There's also 40% reduction, typical reduction seen in greenhouse gas emissions from the idling traffic vehicles. We looked at this particular roundabout from using the Federal Highway Emissions Toolkit, and the reductions are equivalent to 550,000 fewer miles a year, or 25,000 gallons of gas a year. We'll go through some of the impacts to the existing parking and right-of-way. This is at the corner of the Walgreens and the Manassas Corner Shopping Center. Here we'll have up to 3 parking spaces needed to be removed to build the roundabout. In the corner with Ryan's Discount Furniture and the food line, there'll actually be no impacts to the parking spaces with some right-of-way needed. At the Iron Horse Antiques corner, we have no parking impacts and no right-of-way. And then at the CVS, we have no parking spaces needed to be removed and a little bit of right-of-way. Now I'll go through the construction phasing. This shows the 4 phases, main phases for construction we'll use, and the approximate time frame for each phase. The phase 1 in light blue is in the northwest and northeast corners, and will also include removal of the existing islands. The phase 2 will be in the southeast and southwest quadrants. And then phase 3 will be resurfacing and full depth pavement reconstruction. And then finally in phase 4, we'll install the splitter islands and the raised central island. And it is during phase 4 that traffic will change from a signalized intersection to operate as a roundabout. Go over some of the roundabout operations. This is the Federal Highway Guide that explains how to use a roundabout. Goes over in the central there, in the middle there. Want to slow down. If you want to go left, you want to be in the left lane, and if you want to go, you want to be in the right lane. There'll also be guide signs installed as part of this. You're expected to yield to pedestrians in the crosswalks and yield to bicyclists that are using the roundabout as a vehicle. Then also any trucks in the roundabout you will not want to pass. And then it will operate very similar to other roads as far as emergency vehicles with the fire station down the road. You'll want to get to the right and allow emergency vehicles to pass. So on the left here, we show the yielding you'll do as you get to the roundabout. The traffic inside the roundabout has the right of way. So everyone on the approaches is expected to yield and to any vehicles inside of it. And then on this central graphic shows the reduction in conflict points, which is a big reason for all the reductions in crashes and injuries. And then finally, on the lower right, it shows how bicyclists will go through the roundabout. They can either go as a vehicle on the roadway for the more experienced bicyclist, or for the less experienced, they can dismount from their bike and act as a pedestrian on the sidewalks and the crosswalks. Here's just some of the auto turn movements for a WB62, which is a tractor trailer that typical for deliveries in the area. This shows the Centreville Road through movements. Shows the Sudley Road and Prescott Avenue through movements. This shows the Sudley Road left turn to Centreville Road northbound, which is part of the truck route. This is the Centreville Road southbound U-turn. Prescott Avenue U-turn. Centreville Road northbound U-turn. And the Sudley Road U-turn. Aika?
Thank you very much, Matt. I'll now discuss the project funding and schedule. Currently, the project is partially funded in the City of Manassas FY23 Capital Improvement Program and is expected to cost $3.8 million. Federal funds are being sought to fully fund this project, and a raised grant application was submitted in April 2022. For the project schedule, as mentioned previously, this project is currently in 60% design, and we will receive and respond to public feedback and anticipate to complete 90% design in winter 22, acquire right-of-way and easements in summer 23, and complete final design by fall 23, and hope to complete construction by winter 24. Please know that the schedule is based on funding availability and assumes federal funds are awarded. We will now move to the question and answer session. Okay, I will read the questions. And please note that the questions, all responses will be posted on the project website within the next 2 weeks. Okay, so if we're not able to answer all of the questions this evening, please check our website at the web link here on the screen. Okay. Okay, first question. Manassas drivers struggle with a simple four-way stop at Prescott and Quarry. What makes you think they will have success in a roundabout?
Roundabout, you yield to the vehicles that are already in the roundabout, and you'll have guide signs as you approach. Sometimes with a four-way stop, I think people have problems when everybody's approaching at the same time. And I think the people to the right are supposed to go first is the rule. But with the roundabout, you yield to any vehicles that are already in the roundabout. So that should be easier than some very large four-way stop signs.
Thank you, Matt. Next question is, with the light at 234 in Mathis, won't traffic back up onto the circle during heavy traffic hours? How does that affect the flow during those hours on the roundabout?
Yeah, we looked at the traffic study. Andy, do you want to come in and chime in on this?
Yeah, hi, I'm Andy Moy, and I'm one of the city's consultants, and I'm the traffic engineer. We looked at this in our traffic study of the network, and we found that the max queue that we could simulate was 260 feet, which is less than the available storage that is provided between those intersections of 340 feet. So we don't anticipate that the queuing from the Mathis signal will back up and have any impact on roundabout operations.
Thank you, Andy. How many crashes were there in the intersection in 2020 and 2021? I know that our study was between 2014 and 2018, and there were 48 accidents. I'll look up this information, Christina, and we'll post it to the website. So thank you. Are these federal funds part of the infrastructure bill that was passed? These are separate funds. This is a different grant project. This is part of the RAISE application project. Funding, excuse me. Next question. Are the trucks you discussed allowed on the city streets, i.e. Center Street and Church Street?
No, those are actually restricted routes for semi-trailers. We just showed those to show that a vehicle or a truck could get through the roundabout, but the truck route is Sudley Road and then Centreville Road, north of Sudley Road. So Centreville South and then Prescott are restricted to semi-trailers.
Thank you, Matt. And also with Sudley and 234 being heavily used by emergency vehicles, how will emergency vehicles affect roundabout traffic flow?
We'd expect emergency vehicles, just on occasion. There is the volunteer fire department down Centreville Road. We did look at fire trucks as part of the auto turns, and they should be able to navigate through the roundabout with much easier than the tractor trucks auto turns we showed.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. There's another request here. It says, please add bike lanes in the roundabouts. Thanks.
Naika, would you like me to address that?
Yes, please. Thank you.
So we can't put bike lanes inside of a roundabout, and that's codified by the manual on uniform traffic control devices. And that's the reason being is that putting a bike lane to the outside of the roundabout puts bikes in a very vulnerable position relative to traffic as they try to leave the roundabout. So when a bicyclist wants to traverse the roundabout, depending on their level of confidence, they should either take the lane that any vehicle would want to be in to get to their destination based on the guide signs and regulatory signs telling you which lane to use. Or if they're not comfortable using that, they should cross as a pedestrian using the crosswalks aided by the rectangular flashing beacons. So we can't add bike lanes to the interior of the roundabout, but there are certainly options. And I think a roundabout is safer for a bike to take the lane and traverse the roundabout.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you. Question here. I have concerns on the lack of courtesy that the average Manassas citizen shows when driving in town. I do not feel that this roundabout will be a feasible option due to this option. How can we ensure that this roundabout addition will work to its full potential, taking into account your average Nova driver?
So we've started to build other roundabouts in Northern Virginia. There is an education component of this that people need to learn how to use the roundabouts. But as more roundabouts get built, more people learn how to navigate them. Andy, you want to add to this?
No, I think you covered it. I can go back to the emergency vehicle bit for just a second. Other signals in the city, and if this signal were rebuilt, this intersection were rebuilt as a signal, the emergency preemption aspect would cause a lot of delay whenever emergency vehicles came in. It would throw the signal out of coordination. And with a roundabout, and because the size is large enough for emergency vehicles to traverse it, the flow of traffic is not as impacted when an emergency vehicle needs to access this intersection, because everyone's going to see the flashing lights. No one's assigned, protected right away. Everyone's yielding upon entry. So everyone will see that emergency vehicle. They should be able to get in and out faster, and traffic should be able to recover to its conventional traffic patterns more quickly in a roundabout.
Thank you, Matt and Andy. And also I'd like to add that roundabouts in general reduce travel speed. So there's safety as well. And also, I don't know if we can go back to the typical section or not, but we also included buffer space. Let's see.
Yeah, we have 2-foot pavement marking buffers. We could show that on the plan view. That would probably show it better.
Okay,
Let's see, go one more.
perfect.
Oh, wait, back one more. There you go. So in the central aisle or on the approach lanes, you can see 2 approach lanes, and you see a buffer there between each lane. That's a 2-foot buffer. And then you see the small triangles, the shark teeth for the yield. And then also in the roundabout, you'll see the solid white lines are buffers too. And there'll be pavement markings to help guide everybody go through the roundabout. I know that's a big concern with multi-lane roundabouts, is everybody making sure they're in the correct lane. And also as they navigate through the roundabout, the pavement markings will help tremendously to navigate through that.
Thank you, Matt. Okay. 30 seconds quicker. To do what? Sit still and have to wait at the light on Liberia? So the roundabout location is at the Sudley Road, Centreville Road, Prescott Avenue intersection.
Yeah, I mean, so with this, you have a network right now. You can go once this roundabout is installed, the signal to the north will still be Liberia and Centreville Road. But you can go from there all the way into downtown Manassas without a signal. I think the first signal southbound is at Main Street, and then northbound there's a signal at Main Street, but there's also another one at Center where it turns, but that one's green most of the time. So anybody living locally, within a half mile, will have to stop a lot less and sit at this light a lot less than they do today.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. How will the roundabout affect the Manassas Fire Company response time?
Andy answered that question, but it should actually help it. People should just get to the right again as a fire truck comes through. The fire truck can easily navigate this roundabout. And vehicles should also be able to get over a little easier than at a very congested intersection like Liberia.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Being a frequent passer of that intersection, I've seen backups frequently. How can you ensure that the backup will not occur when the simulation couldn't fully load the distance?
Andy, you want to go over some of the Q links from the study?
Sure. I'm not sure exactly where we're referring to, but if we're talking about earlier, the distance between the signal downstream of the exit leg onto Sudley, I mentioned earlier, our report only showed 260 feet of queuing, a max queue, sorry, of 260 feet in 340 feet of storage. I'm not sure if I misspoke earlier, so it sounded like I was saying we couldn't see that entire simulation. We could see the entire distance, and it never filled up or would seem to have caused any impact on roundabout operations. For instance, backing up into the roundabout. We don't expect that based on the modeling.
And the queuing along Centreville Road is significantly less than in the existing signal condition.
Yeah, if you bear with me, I can pull those tables. Yeah, the signal was typically, sorry, that's the wrong table. Yeah, the signal is, so we modeled a signal here in the future conditions as well, and that was typically yielding queues from on various legs from 250 up to 500 feet. I'm looking at the roundabout option. I'm seeing 200 to 400 for a few of these. So
That's at the PM or the AM peak hours.
I'm looking at the PM peak.
PM peak, okay.
So Nike, is this report going to be published to the website?
Yes, we will
Okay.
post the presentation to the website and also the responses as well. And there's also additional information regarding roundabouts and this project design that will be posted to the website also. Okay. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Andy. Thank you. Okay, next question is, what is the red line that is showing in the picture you sent? Because it seems it will affect private properties.
The red line is proposed right away, which we have up on the screen, the heavy red line. There are some impacts to commercial properties, but it's mostly in the existing landscaped buffer, with the exception at the Walgreens and the Manassas Center Shopping Center. There'll be a few parking spaces needed to be removed.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Okay, next question. There's several comments here inside of, several comments were offered, or I guess entered into the question and answer box. So we will respond to those comments online. We'll post those responses online. And let me see, there's a response here. Virginia drivers don't know traffic laws. I hear you saying the rules, but drivers don't know roundabout laws. Is this just asking for accidents and backup? It's not clear why this roundabout is needed, other than feeling it will improve traffic flow, but will it? I would say yes, indeed, because that's the function of a roundabout, to slow down traffic and reduce traffic delay and congestion. And it's also a safer route. I mean, if you think about it, the existing signalized intersection is, it's a lot of traffic stoppage and delay. And here with the roundabout, you have a continuously moving traffic flow at lower vehicular speeds and safer access for the pedestrians to move without the circle as well.
Yeah, and one of oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Matt, go ahead. Thank you.
I was just going to say one of the big benefits to the roundabout is particularly the reduction in injury, crashes, and fatalities. Just those alone over a 20-year span would save a tremendous amount of money in the overall economy.
And we have those studies, as mentioned before, the city completed numerous traffic studies and feasibility analysis to see if this what could work here to improve this intersection? And the result was a 2-lane roundabout. We will post all of this information online so that you can review it as well. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Oh, I see. Then there's another comment. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions that we can review. There's another comment about, I see traffic back up on 28 making a right onto Sudley towards Mathis regularly. It's not necessarily a question, but
There's also a question about the crosswalks. I don't know if we want to answer that.
it's actually many questions. I was thinking this one may be better online, but you feel free to respond to anything, Matt or Andy, if you like.
I would just say that broadly, the pace of a pedestrian crossing in our modeling isn't really a factor. But these crossings will be greatly improved by splitting them in half. It's a shorter distance with a refuge space in the middle of the crossing. So it'll be less strenuous for someone differently abled to get to that crossing, have somewhere to wait and see traffic. And with the addition of the rectangular rapid flashing beacons, they will see much greater compliance from drivers in terms of yielding as they're trying to cross. So I think you're going to see a net improvement in the ease of being able to cross 28 or any of these approaches.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Matt. Okay, there's many other questions here, but we will post the responses online. Let's see. I think then we'll be able to provide additional information and show you actual study results.
Do you want to discuss, I guess, Route 28 Liberia? You guys have future projects for that intersection. Just think some people, we're saying this traffic will move quicker through here with potentially platoon more cars at Liberia in Route 28. But I think in your CIP, you have future projects to address some of those concerns.
Yes, that is correct. And if any of the panelists would like to discuss these projects, you're welcome to.
Yeah, Naika, I can touch on that. So the city has several phases of projects to improve the intersection at Liberia and Route 28. The first phase was to extend the left turn lanes from Route 28 onto onto Liberia in southbound direction. And there's another phase that's in the right-of-way phase right now that will further improve the intersection by improving pedestrian safety and working to install pedestrian refuge islands and the slip lanes at the right turn at the right turns on each leg of the intersection.
Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it. Okay, here's another question. Are you suggesting coming to downtown would be quicker, but traffic heading towards Centreville will, by your own admission, still be dealing with the light at Liberia?
Yeah, I think that was what we were just addressing. You guys have future projects planned for Liberia.
Yes. There's actually 2 Liberian 28 questions. And then another question is, if this roundabout is done by drivers, we'll still have to wait at the light on Mathis. Okay. A pedestrian crossing lines with pedestrian light, it will be more effective and cost less, okay? Okay, here's another question. Why is the plan for a 2-lane roundabout with 2 lanes of traffic feeding into it from each road versus a 1 lane?
A one-lane roundabout wouldn't have the capacity to move the traffic we have today through the intersection. 2 lanes are needed, particularly on Centreville Road in each direction, and then on Sudley Road, going right through or left onto Centreville or Prescott.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Why have pedestrians and bikers stand in the middle of the road?
Those are the refuge islands, so there'll be 6 to 8 foot of space with detectable domes to as a refuge, and concrete raised medians to protect the pedestrians. So they'll cross 2 lanes of traffic, having to look in one direction, and then get to the median refuge, and then cross 2 lanes of traffic and looking in the other direction. Those are concrete islands with curb ramps, basically, or cut through curb ramps. They're not just the same as the asphalt roadway.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Anyone who'd like to send some more questions, please feel free to enter your questions into the question and answer.
Do you want to, Nika, mention about the in-person meeting on the 28th?
Yes, indeed. On July 28th, we will also have the same Sudley Road Roundabout project meeting in person at 5:30 p.m. at the Prince William Islamic Center. And I believe it's at 9021 Mathis Avenue. I should have had it handy, I'm sorry, but we will post this information online as well. Let me see if there's any more information on this page. At this meeting, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions as well and hear responses from us. And oh, I'm sorry, I'm not able to go backwards. I was trying to go to the last page of the presentation, so I'm sorry about that.
Oh, I think Lance has it here. It's 9002 Mathis Avenue is the address.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So once again, yes, we'll have our in-person meeting on July 28th, beginning at 5:30 p.m. at 9002 Mathis Avenue. That's the Islamic Center. So happy to discuss the project with you and answer any of your questions at that time. Once again, this presentation will be posted to the city website at this link right here, and we'll also have responses to all of your questions, including ones that were not answered this evening, online within the next 2 weeks. There's also lots of project information and typical sections and schematics that you can view as well, and a lot of great project information. Okay, I'll see if we have any other questions. Okay. Well, once again, everyone, we thank you very much for joining us this evening. Please visit the City of Manassas website project page to upload any additional comments or questions that you may have. And we look forward to seeing you if you'd like to come out and visit with us again within the next 2 weeks at the Islamic Center at 9002 Mathis Avenue. So we thank you very much for your time. Once again, if you have any additional questions or comments or anything, please feel free to visit the website. There's a link there where you'll be able to upload any comments that you may have. Thank you very much. Thank you.